Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is that Fandom Show, and it is Tuesday night. My voice is a little better than it's been the last couple of weeks, so that's something. Obviously not back to normal. And I still can't hear for shit out of my right ear. So apologies if there's audio issues. The goal is for there to not be. Wow. So I can't say I was one of the lucky people that got to attend A24 this weekend in Pasadena, California. But there were a lot of people there, people that have been on this channel, people that used to be mods on this channel, and someone who was on this channel just last week. And it's always nice when you hear something positive come out of the mouths of the people that actually run the franchise. We can come on here and get 95% of Halloween kills correct, and get Halloween ends probably 75% correct, and then for everything you get right, sometimes you get Myers was going to look like a hobo in ends at one point, and didn't come to be. There's a bunch of people out there who've been saying for a while now something has been coming with the franchise. We've been saying it for a while. Jimmy Champagne's been saying it for a while. I believe Wolfman Got Nards said something a while back too. There's just a lot of people had an idea that something was coming down the pipeline, and here we are, and yet, technically speaking, nothing is official yet, which also makes it a little, let's not, let's not put the stamp on it just yet. A lot can go wrong before something is officially announced. That being said, as the Slaughtered Lamb movie podcast guys reported this week, and they were both in attendance there, Malek Akkad at H45 from this afternoon's panel. Really cool stuff coming. A kernel of truth in last week's rumors. And the rumors they're talking about are the rumor that Paramount might be close to acquiring the rights for a Halloween movie, as well as perhaps A24 might be doing a Halloween series. I've seen a lot of random talk online about the whole television approach to things, and hey, look, I, like most of you, prefer to go see, I prefer to go see a new Halloween movie or even a new Star Wars movie in cinemas. I want to go have that cinematic experience. And I think most of you want to go see a Halloween movie in theaters as well. That being said, there's still this stigma with what I would say is the general public about when something leaves movie theaters or cinemas, depending how you want to refer to it as, to go do television. Now, I can't sit here and say anything for the Chucky series that's going into its third season, simply because I've seen one episode. That's it, the very first one. And it's not like I thought it was terrible. I'm just not a Chucky guy. I'm Halloween through and through. That being said, and I'm not saying we're going to get an HBO Halloween show. I would die for it, but the chances of that happening are slim to none. What I am saying, though, is why don't you take a look at what The Last of Us has done? A TV show based off of a video game that is gonna win several Emmys. That, between it and House of the Dragon, the Game of Thrones spin-off prequel, are the two, most successful, highly watched television shows, period, over the last half decade, basically. And when you look at the quality of shows like that, again, I'm not saying you're getting Halloween on this level, but why wouldn't you want to take a chance on something with television, something with a little longer storytelling? I'm not saying 90 to 100 minutes isn't enough for a horror movie, or a slasher. It is. But you can dive into deeper storytelling, in my opinion, when characters are given a chance to breathe, a chance to relate to, just a chance to gravitate towards them. And it's really hard to do that in just one 90-minute movie. People gravitate towards Loomis because he was in several movies. Same thing with Laurie. Michael's Michael. At the end of the day, if the Shape is going to be killing people, regardless of how he's doing it, and a Rob Zombie Michael versus a James Jude Courtney versus a George Wilbur, obviously there's differences, but at the end of the day, it's still Michael Myers, and you can use him effectively in a 90 to 100-minute movie. But I really do think that when you're looking at a longer version of storytelling, it gives us, the audience, a chance to gravitate towards protagonists that we don't know, that don't have to have the name, John Tate attached to it, or Jamie Lloyd attached to it. New, interesting characters. Sometimes it's hard to do that when you only have 90 minutes to work with. Let's move away from the House of the Dragon, Last of Us comparison, simply because it isn't a comparison. Any Halloween project that comes out would take a damn near miracle to reach the quality of something like that. That being said, look at The Haunting of Bly Manor or The Haunting of Hill House. Both Mike Flanagan projects that are really, really well done. And then there was the what's that other one called? On the with the priest and oh man, it's slipping my mind right now. I don't know if anybody in the chat knows the one I'm talking about. Dean says, click that like button. Yes, if you click the like button, whether it's live or you're watching after the fact, it really helps us out a lot. Man, it's killing me that I cannot remember the name of that Flanagan show. And the worst part is, Midnight Mass. That's it. Thank you. Yes, click the like button. It really does help. Midnight Mass was fantastic. Now, Midnight Mass also, though, is, in my opinion, one of those things that a lot of people refer to as elevated horror at this point in time. And I liked it. I enjoyed it. Dean said, just as we were going live here, I want to go back to his comment. I'm really hoping they mean keep it elevated to high standards and not this whole elevated horror nonsense that got popularized when it was mentioned in Scream 5, but dates back before then. I'd say it dates back way before then. And I mean, I think the truth of the matter is it's probably a bit of both. I know there's people that want to see, just your typical late 1970s, early 1980s slasher period piece from Halloween that doesn't really have social commentary. And I doubt whatever the next Halloween movie ends up being, that it's going to have the level of social commentary that Jamie Lee Curtis insisted on putting out there throughout the last three movies. But I do think that on some level here, pun intended, you are going to get elevated horror on both fronts. I don't think they want what they're doing to look cheaper than what they've already done. But yes, I think that they're going to touch on real life issues as well. Again, not to the extent that some of the newer ones touch on. We won't have Jamie Lee Curtis saying trauma in every single interview that's done for whatever the next project is. But I think it's safe to say, especially if A24 sneaks away with the TV rights, which again, if Miramax wants them, and again, if Miramax goes and gets those rights, and even though it seems to be put forward by Bloody Disgusting and others that A24 is leading the way on the television rights, if Miramax doesn't get those TV rights, how hard is it then for Miramax and Trancas to agree on where the movie rights get essentially leased to for a film or two or three? That becomes a little more difficult because there's probably some hurt feelings. And again, I think I said this on a stream last week, but people will say, oh, that's nonsense. They'll just do business. It's like eventually, but if you think something that significant isn't going to cause a problem behind the scenes of this franchise has a history of having things just like this cause issues behind the scenes that delay future projects. So I do think they got to walk a fine line here, but at the end of the day, if A24 is getting involved, you can bet your ass some version of it is going to be the elevated horror, right? Again, I think there are different levels to that, though, and I do think it means multiple things. I don't think it's just in one way, Dean. But like it's like the Crystal Lake show. Like anybody who thought that they're going to get this just 1980s campy slasher and that's all it's going to be for 8 or 10 episodes, whatever it runs for, I got news for you. That's not what's going to happen. You got Brian Fuller doing that project. There's going to be nothing that's traditionally campy. Well, I won't say nothing, but you better be ready for like a psychological portion to that series that maybe you don't get out of other Friday the 13th products. Pardon me. So, and I'm going to put this one out there on this stream. Let's get a little adventurous with this for a second. Taking the good stuff like I tend to do from time to time, and ask yourself, okay, if A24 secures the rights to the Friday the 13th franchise strictly in television format, I know there's still people that are looking at that deal and thinking that they can't use Jason, and it's just not true at all. They have full access to that character on TV, hockey mask included. So A24 already has that. Now it is with Universal. It's a joint deal to put it on Peacock. But what if A24 then gets the rights to Halloween? You would have the Halloween rights and the Friday the 13th rights, albeit just the television rights, not cinematic. The cinema rights, the rights for the films, if you will. They'll be under the same roof. Now, it's not as simple as just going out and doing it. But is there a chance, and I do wonder this, and I have no inside knowledge on this whatsoever. I don't even know if I've heard it suggested. I'm sure someone out there has. I'm sure some guy on Reddit's putting it out there as official. But if A24 gets Halloween and they already have Friday the 13th, is there at least a possibility? Is there a possibility that Halloween, or whatever they call the TV show, and Crystal Lake take place in the same universe and they can reference one another? And I know immediately people are going to jump to, oh my God, it's going to be Michael versus Jason. And I would not rule that possibility out if they end up both going to A24. But I don't think it would be this Freddy versus Jason thing. I think you do a long, slow build to something like that where it takes you a bit just to figure out that, these two TV franchise versions of those franchises take place in the same universe. And then you got to sit there and wonder, okay, so if that's the case, if that's the case, does that then change the way people look at this? I do sit there and wonder how the online reaction would be if they found out that Halloween and Crystal Lake took place in the same universe. Not saying it's happening, but I think you at least have to consider the possibility if A24 secures the TV rights for both. Where does that lead? I would love it to not be this like showdown thing, but maybe somehow get them involved in the same area on the same night, and it just sort of organically happens. Now, the idea of it organically happening over the course of a couple of seasons, you build up to this big, event. That to me intrigues me. I would like to see that. If A24 is indeed putting, everything they have in these two franchises on the TV side of things. I think that would be a very unique way of looking at things. And then you got to wonder the crossover possibility. Like if you're doing a series and your Halloween series ends up being Michael and not something Season of the Witch, who's playing the authority figures? Who is Facebook user? It does not say your name, so apologies for that. We're on YouTube. If you want to check us out there, Facebook user is on the Legacy of Halloween Facebook group. Strongly suggest everybody go there and check it out, join, and participate on a bunch of the fun that's put on over there. And kudos to Dean Renner and everything he has really led the way to build that page to be. I 100% agree that the showdown format is really undesirable when you think about Freddy versus Jason or Alien versus Predator. I'm right there with you. And done in that vein, I have no interest in. But I got to tell you, the idea of, say, Halloween being set like a few years after the Friday the 13th show or the Crystal Lake show is set, and then the possibility of having like a authority figure, a detective, much like we see with Brad Pitt's character in Seven, go from one area to the other, and we find out that, this same guy is working both cases. There's your connective tissue. And then maybe 2 or 3 seasons into that, they sort of just organically run into one another. I hate the idea of this big, let's do weigh-in showdowns. I get it for marketing, why it might be done. But the idea of it just happening organically out of nowhere, like, if you're not a Star Wars fan, let me just take you on a quick 1-minute story. So The Mandalorian comes out. The Mandalorian is a TV show that's set, at least season 1, 5 years after Return of the Jedi. It follows this random Mandalorian who comes across a baby Yoda-looking figure, and his goal is to get him back home. But he's still a Mandalorian doing Mando things, going and getting bounties and shit. And they're telling this overarching story about the Mandalorians, and you still have the Imperial remnant in it, what's left of the Empire post Return of the Jedi. That builds into season 2. We start to see some other characters come into it. Everybody's sort of down and out of it in the finale of season 2. And who comes in for the save and literally leaked nowhere. Not Reddit, nobody had it, which is so rare nowadays. It's also because it was a complete closed set filming of it. But Luke Skywalker, it was the deep fake shit, which I'm pretty questionable on, but it blew up the internet. You can't tell me that 2 years ago you didn't see Luke Skywalker returning all over Twitter, all over Facebook, all over Instagram. Now, the idea of just building up a couple seasons into like Halloween and then boom, Jason's there because there's the connective tissue of one of the characters that was in both shows. Again, this is all pie in the sky. Probably won't happen. But you have to consider the possibility if A24 ends up with both. I think it would be unique. I would like to see how they go about that. Keep the questions and comments going. We'll refer to the chat. Again, if you haven't yet, please take a moment, like the stream. It helps us out a bunch, helps other people find it. It would just be appreciated. Yeah, click the like button. If you want to support us on another level, you can go over to Patreon. Support us there, patreon.com/Fandom Empire. Big thanks to our patrons. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here. Big thanks to our sponsors, Backtrack Cinema, Storytime Spectacular, and Colleague Nation. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here either. So I do want to take a moment to advertise this, the Legacy of Halloween. That's right. The Legacy of Halloween is finally here, and it's going through the same woes any new YouTube channel does, where they don't share your videos unless you pay for the first little bit until you get a track record built up. And we're in the process of doing that. I tried really hard to get our second video out today. Timing just wasn't going to work out, but it will be out tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. Our first video was a good one, in my opinion anyways. It was about a pending rights deal, because that was the speculation after H45, and we just sort of asked if people think there's a pending rights deal in place. The indication was they think they might be ready to announce something major prior to Halloween this year. But honestly, go check out that video. It's on the Legacy of Halloween YouTube page. If you're subscribed here, you should subscribe over there, because if you just want Halloween content, you're going to find a bunch of pre-produced video over there weekly. Hopefully a couple videos a week at the least. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And tomorrow we have, is there a Halloween video game coming over there? So that one's being thrown out. And actually, there might be some rumors already out in the gaming industry about untitled projects that are currently in the works that might, in fact, be connected to this, as well as Supermassive Games. So be on the lookout for that, because that could be a earth-shattering announcement for this franchise if that's the direction they end up going. And there it is right there. The Legacy of Halloween over on YouTube. Head on over there, subscribe, check out the videos. It would be greatly appreciated. You'll be able to find Halloween all the time over there. And yeah, again, tomorrow we will put out our is there a video game coming video. It was hinted anyways at H45. I believe the Slaughtered Lamb guys covered that as well, so definitely go check out them. They also put out a if you weren't fortunate enough to be there in person, they did a really nice walkthrough of the convention that I definitely highly recommend going and checking out. Let's dive into this article, and then I'll refer back to the chat again. We're really focused on Halloween and Friday tonight. We'll probably go for another 10 or 15 minutes here before I get off. I haven't done a solo one in a while and don't want to lose my voice, because later tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, we are talking about the finale, the Ahsoka season finale, and the universe that it's setting up with Star Wars right now. It's probably been the most exciting time to be a Star Wars fan in a very long time, and we'll be live at 10 p.m. tonight talking about the Ahsoka finale. So yeah, Blumhouse, yeah, that's more like it. Blumhouse still wants to make a new Halloween movie. I mean, that was hinted at too. Blumhouse still wants to make a new Friday the 13th movie. It's been close to 15 years since we've had a Friday the 13th movie. By the way, that one was starring Jared Padalecki of Supernatural. I think that movie's highly underrated and wish they would have went further with it. In fact, like I've said on this channel for years, I think that movie's better than most of the Friday the 13th movies. Anyways, they go on to say, in fairness, much of that has to do with a lawsuit between the original screenwriter Victor Miller and director Sean Cunningham. But with the Crystal Lake TV show in the works from Brian Fuller at Peacock, the tide appears to be turning. The folks at Blumhouse are once again making it known they want to bring Jason Voorhees back to the big screen. And Dean, I don't know if you're still around right now, man, but I would love to hear your take on if you think Blumhouse should be touching Friday the 13th. Apologies for that, guys. I don't know what's going on with their website. Just glitched big time. All right. So Blumhouse is Ryan Turk. Yeah, this is freezing up on me. I'm trying to do this. Blumhouse's Ryan Turek recently spoke with folks at Inverse in anticipation of the release of The Exorcist Believer, which comes out this weekend, and don't be surprised if it bombs massively. Anyways, Turek explained that he and Blumhouse head honcho Jason Blum very much want to be the ones. This is killing me. Fangoria, what the hell's up with the pop-ups? Come on. Let me can this for a second, guys. There we go. Turek explained that he and Blumhouse head honcho Jason Blum very much want to be the ones to bring the Friday the 13th franchise back. If Turek has his ways, it sounds like it wouldn't complicate matters too much either. Here's what he had to say about it. Jason and I definitely are in agreement that Friday the 13th is the thing we would love to get our hands on. I really want to go back to the basics. You don't need too many ingredients for Friday the 13th. You need a summer camp, you need campers, and you need Jason Voorhees in a mask. Listen, I've gone on record saying Halloween is the ultimate slasher for me. It's his favorite slasher of all time, but Friday the 13th as a franchise is just one that I just bow down to. I just love everything about it. So I guess, my issue here with this is obviously the handling of Halloween Ends, which, I, for one, am still definitely not over. But if you're looking at it from a wide lens, you can't argue with the fact that Blumhouse's financial success in Halloween, all three movies, diminishing returns, mind you, each one got worse. You can't argue with the return. So at the end of the day, as much as I really didn't like Halloween Ends, Halloween Kills grows on me, and Halloween 2018, I think, is just a fine Halloween film. Like, very, very good. So I can't sit here and be like, oh, no, I don't want them to touch Friday the 13th. I would absolutely be for Jason Voorhees, but I'm not for sitting through another David Gordon Green film. I'm not. There are other directors out there that can do horror than David Gordon Green. I'm not saying he's not qualified to do it. I'm just saying, go see The Exorcist this weekend, and when half the commentary is similar to Halloween Ends, I will sit here and go, I told you so. Again, I haven't seen it. I'm just going off of things that I've heard from people that have, and you should always definitely draw your own conclusions about something, and not let other people, tell you what your opinion should be. God knows there's enough people out there that do that already. John Hayes says, I love both franchises, but I would want to keep them separate. So he's sour on the idea of A24 doing both. Troy said if it could be done right, he would like it. Dean says, if they can set Crystal Lake near Haddonfield, the possibility becomes very likely. Yeah. I think that's going to be very interesting to see. We find out that it's not too far away, and you might be going, uh-oh, there might be something to this. Dean says he'd be open to seeing something official. Dean says Blumhouse and Friday, depending on how they handle it, because Jason can be both human or supernatural. Yeah, I am curious what way they take with that. I think the supernatural Jason's more scary, in my opinion, but I also think some of those movies got really stupid. Joel says, I wouldn't mind Blumhouse getting Friday. John says, take my money. Triple Glax says, I hope they don't butcher The Exorcist in the second and third film. Well, I'm trying to be careful here with what I say. So one of the people that is very kind with information to this channel, we'll use the term source, said they went and did that with the first film. So that doesn't give me much hope for films 2 and 3. In fact, The last I heard, there's a possibility that David Gordon Green might not be in the director's chair for either of those. We'll wait and see what happens there, but time will tell. Troy says Blumhouse has always wanted Friday. Wonder if that happens. Money, right? The end of the day, money, money, money. Dean Renner says, I mean, honestly, if Friday the 13th gets announced for a new movie, Friday the 13th fans and horror fans are flocking to see it. It's been since 2009 since Jason was on the big screen. Yeah, but let me tell you this. Again, matter of opinion. If Blumhouse is just going to do a run-of-the-mill Friday the 13th movie, yeah, it's back in theaters and it's new and we haven't seen it before, compared to what Brian Fuller is capable of giving us with Crystal Lake, I got to tell you, I think that I think any Friday the 13th movie is going to have a damn hard time living up to the likely quality that Brian Fuller is going to deliver with Crystal Lake if it's anything like Hannibal. Hannibal is mountains above any Friday the 13th property, in my opinion. Hannibal is intelligent storytelling done over long term that has elements of horror but psychological shit to it as well. It really fucks with your mind. I just think any run-of-the-mill, $10 million made Friday the 13th movie, that's how Ryan Turk describes it as, is just not going to hold a candlestick to what Brian Fuller's capable of delivering. And I do think you run into some issues there then. So, we'll wait and see. I just want to point out this as well. Let me go over to YouTube here. If it wants to load. It's almost like I'm on AOL dial-up from back in the day. Escape to Paradise. Don't worry, guys. I'm writing as fast as you can. Well, yeah. If it's how fast I write, you'll be done next year. But I want to give Jimmy some credit here. Jimmy Champagne has had a few videos out over the last little bit, covering, as you can see, what's going on with the Halloween franchise. One thing I found very interesting is, I don't know if it's in that first one or the second one, but Jimmy stated that he thinks that they're so far along in the process, which again would line up with what David Gordon Green spilled the beans on last year. Again, if you were paying attention during the press circuit for Halloween Ends, David Gordon Green not once but twice went and opened his mouth about shit that really doesn't concern him, about the future of the franchise, and that Malek Akkad was already working towards something. But Jimmy mentioned that he expects to see, if these rights are getting dealt soon, TCM series possible. Okay, I gotta go now. Well, I hope it's better than some of the recent stuff that's come from Texas Chainsaw. But Jimmy Champagne had said that he thought that, he would expect a new Halloween movie as early as Halloween 2025, which is a little more than 2 years from now. 25 months, basically. And I'm not going to say it's impossible. If, these aren't just financial bids that are happening. They're creative bids. And if, they're really high on something, and maybe there's already talent attached to, whatever possible proposal, I could see a movie coming out for 2025. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm not nearly as optimistic as Jimmy is. But I do think at the end of the day that I think that if the movie rights get dealt with really quickly, like before the end of this year, I think you're looking at October 2026. Again, that's about 3 years from now. That gives time to, write a script, go through multiple drafts, shoot the thing, time for reshoots. I want a Halloween movie just as soon as all you guys. It's just as soon as the Friday fans want a Friday movie. at the same time, I would rather them take their time and do the right one and get it right, rather than rushing it. That's just me. Triple Glax also says he wouldn't mind if Michael and Jason crossed paths. Yeah, I mean, I think if A24 gets both, who knows? Yeah, again, I don't know how I feel about the whole TCM thing. John Hayes says, Hannibal was great. Didn't think I would like it as much as the movies, but man, I was wrong. Yeah, so I'll say this. I think Hannibal is, Anthony Hopkins fans are going to hate me, but I think Hannibal, the series by Brian Fuller, is miles better than any of those movies. That's just me. I just think, they have talent involved over there, though. They have really good talent involved. Mads Mikkelsen is an incredible actor with such good range. Lawrence Fishburne's in there too. John says, do you think they would take a better idea for lesser money or a decent story for money? I think whatever company pays the most money is going to get it, as long as the creative that's attached to it isn't something completely asinine. I assure you, despite the people that love Halloween Ends out there, you are not going to see a repeat of that movie in whatever comes next. You're just not. But again, time will tell. If you haven't yet, please head on over to the Legacy of Halloween YouTube channel. We got a great video up there right now recapping all the things from H45, and then another one coming tomorrow with Halloween video game rumors. And, Akkad himself teased it, but could Supermassive Games be in on this? They have a untitled horror project that is not based in their typical teen horror, scheduled for 2026. This would be about the time you announce something official. We shed some light on that in tomorrow's video, so be on the lookout for that. Again, the Legacy of Halloween on YouTube. Head on over, subscribe, share the page around, the channel around, and looking forward to what we're able to do over there for each and every one of you. I'm just excited at the possibility of more Halloween. I can be patient. Really, thanks, Dean. It's appreciated. There's the channel right there, guys, in the chat. I can be patient, and honestly, I didn't enjoy the road to Halloween Ends at all. Like, I just didn't. We found out really early what that movie was going to be, and it was just deflating. I remember having the chat with people that are involved with Fandom Empire, and just being unable to be excited for it. Again, I don't think the movie's as bad as half the people make it out to be. I just think the creative liberties that are taken with Michael Myers are insane, and it's one of the reasons why The Last Jedi is hated from Star Wars fans. You got to be careful what you do with certain characters. Troy Grubb says that would be cool if there's a Halloween movie in 2026. Who do you think gets the movie rights? I think it's Paramount. If you actually go back to not only a video that we did on Patreon for Lampkin Lane, there's a little snippet that actually appears in that first Legacy of Halloween that shows that we did have that out there really early. We also did one in public on the channel, if you go back and dig up in the channel, that Paramount has been interested in the franchise since late 2022. Whether you're a Scream fan or not, Scream 5 was good, in my opinion. I think they spend too much time doing shit that's not relevant, though, in that movie. Scream 6, I think, is your typical, if you've never seen one of these movies before, you can go watch this movie and enjoy it and still be able to get caught up with where we are in the story for the most part. I think that is exactly what you want in the Halloween franchise. I also think the fact that they went out and made Montreal look like New York was pretty impressive. You can make Montreal to be out whatever the hell you want it to be, but it is not New York. Trust me. I've been to both. They're not the same. Obviously, there's some plate shots and pass by shots that are of actual New York City. But yeah, Paramount, I would be pretty stunned at this point if Paramount doesn't end up doing a Halloween movie. I just think that the TV thing is going to get done first because the TV rights will be for less money. I'm just curious to see if the Season of the Witch thing happens. I think there are ways and probably more creative liberties you can take with a Season of the Witch TV series than you can with Michael. But I still love the idea of doing a Halloween TV series, True Detective style with Michael Myers. That being said, Wolfman Got Nards put out a really cool poster. I believe it was him that made it too. I showed it to Dean Renner earlier, and I mean, it looks damn good. This right here. So kudos to him on that one. And it's Mike Flanagan Presents Haddonfield. I could see a Halloween TV show just being titled Haddonfield. And tomorrow on that fandom show, we're going to discuss an idea I have for Haddonfield, a way that series could work in an anthology route. So be on the lookout for that in tomorrow's stream. And kudos to Mr. Wolfman for what is just truly a wonderful piece of art. But yes, definitely check out the Legacy of Halloween. Tomorrow we got that Halloween video game video coming. Be on the lookout for that. And we have more coming as well on that channel, the Legacy of Halloween. It'd be greatly appreciated. And if you haven't yet, comment down below, slash that bell, and share your thoughts down below on Malek Akkad saying Halloween to remain elevated horror. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for us tonight. Big thanks for coming out. And we'll see you tomorrow night on That Fandom Show. Ahsoka series finale, or season finale, is up next with our review at 10 p.m. Eastern tonight. We'll see you then. Have a great night.